Greetings, beautiful people. Trading Brigade here again with Georgia Eviction Coaching Network, right? Happy to be back to share more information with you guys. No, in my last video, it's called, I did a thumbnail that's called Decoding the Georgia Code. And I am not sure what you guys have picked up for those who have already watched that video, right? I'm not sure what's popping on the mind, but here I am with supporting information to corroborate what it is that I've been studying over the last few years and actually trying to share with you guys. So allow me now to share a screen and I'll definitely turn you on to what's called the office of the person. What is it called? The office of the person. What's happening here? Is my screen, am I screen sharing? Let me see something. I think I am. Where is this? Screen share. Here. Here. Okay. Okay. So let me start by saying wow. No. This document is captioned the office of the person. Okay? And it says the official state office known as person. Now, remember, we are talking about words. Like if we should go back and look at the genesis of the OCGA, which actually let me pull it up before I go any further. OCGA dash one dash three dash three. That's what it is. OCGA one dash dash three. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So the word person in the legal or in legal terminology is perceived as a general word, which normally includes in its scope a variety of entities other than human beings. And it's telling you to see 1 United States Code Section 1. I won't go there now, but you could go look at it. It also referenced this case, Church of Scientology versus the United States Department of Justice. They are arguing the word person as it relates to the definition in the revenue code. Now, I continue. One of the very first of state statute, one of the very first of state statute will have a section listed entitled definitions. Careful study this section of the statute and you will find a portion that reads similar to this excerpt, right? No, I'm going to share my screen and show you what it is for Georgia. No, this chapter or this section, it's the general provisions, which is Title 1. Okay, and you have seen me gone over this. The definitions, it's not here. 3, right here, 1 3 3. It talks about the person. Person includes a corporation. Okay, so this is the Georgia code. The definition in the Genesis, it defines person to be it includes a corporation. Now let me continue on my other document, the office of the person. So it's saying, in construing these statutes and each and every word, phrase, or part thereof, where the context will permit, the singular includes the plural and vice versa. The gender specific language, this is number two, the gender specific language includes the other gender and the neuter. Three, the word person includes individuals, children, firms, association, joint adventures, partnerships, estates, trust, business trust, syndicates, fiduciaries, or some say fiduciaries, corporations, and all other groups or combination. So that's what person is. You will find according to most state statute. Now, what they're saying here, however, the definition do not list a man or a woman. Therefore, they are excluded from all the statutes. And that is something that I want you to take into consideration. The statute is always saying any person, any person, any person. And under the rule of construction, shall I continue? Expression unis est exclusion alteris. It's a Latin term, right? Where a statute or constitution enumerates the things on which it is to operate or forbids certain things, it is ordinarily to be construed as excluding from its operation all those not expressly mentioned. So if they are saying that person includes these things, what's not mentioned, man or woman, is not expressly mentioned in those things that are enumerated in the definition of person. Individual is a class of person. Children, statutory person. Firms, they are class of persons. It's limited to these class of persons, not the man or the woman. That's what this construction, expression unis est exclusion alteris, right? No. Generally, words in a statute should be given their plain and ordinary meaning. When a statute does not specially define words, such words should be construed in their common or ordinary sense to the effect that the rules used in construing statutes are so applicable in the construction of the statute. It is a fundamental rule of statutory construction that words of common usage, when used in a statute, should be constructed in their plain and ordinary sense. No ambiguity. So it is expressly defined here. And then it is presumed that you are the person. But is that a correct statement? Can that be qualified? Will it hold out to be true? Something for you to think about. If you carefully read the statute laws enacted by your state legislature, you will find that they all are written with phrases similar to these examples. A person commit the offense if of failure to carry a license if the person such and such. A person commits the offense or failure to register a vehicle if the person travels upon the highway in whatever. A person commits the offense of driving uninsured if the person whatever. A person commits the offense of fishing if the person is found upon the high seas without a fishing license. I'm just saying, but yeah. Now I continue. A person commits the offense of breathing if the person inhale or exhale, right? Notice, not only persons can commit these notice that only persons can commit these state legislature created crimes. Only persons that are defined in the statute can create these legislative state crimes or state legislature created crimes. A crime is by definition an offense committed against the state. What's the relationship between the person and the state? If you commit an offense against a human, it is called a tort. Examples of tort would be any personal injury, slander, or defamation of character. So, how does someone become a person and subject to regulation by state statutes and laws? There is only one way. You must ask the state for permission to volunteer to become a state person. You must volunteer because the United States or the US Constitution forbids the state from compelling you into slavery. So you must ask. This is found in the 13th and 14th Amendment. It says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction found in Section 1. Since slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. And you still would have to be one of those persons, at least acting within that capacity, in order to be liable for that class of that type of punishment. All persons born are naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. You know that amendment, the 14th Amendment, and of the state wherein they reside. Is that true? No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction, the equal protection of the laws. This is saying, I continue. You become a state-created statutory person by taking up residency within the state and stepping into the office of the person. You must hold an office within the state government in order for that state government to regulate and control you, performing functions of public office. That is why we're saying we're not engaged in trade or business or the performance of functions of public office. It says you must hold an office within the state government in order for that state government to regulate and control you. First comes the legislative created office. Then comes their control. If you do not have an office in the state government, the legislature's control over you would also be prohibited by the Declaration of Rights section, usually found to be either section 1 or 2 of the state constitution. Where is this? Where am I? The most common office held in a state is therefore the office known as person. Your state legislature created this office as a way to control people. It is an office most people occupy without even knowing that they are doing so. The legislature cannot lawfully control you because you are a flesh and blood human being. God alone created you, and by right, God alone created you, and by right of creation, He alone can control you. It is the nature of law that what one creates, one controls. And that's a very fundamental concept, principle that one should grasp. And I am actually I am actually introducing you guys to what should I call this? Which one? Let me continue. That's something for us to fully comprehend. The most common office held in the state is therefore known as person. Your state legislature created that office as a way to control people. It is an office most people occupy without even knowing that they are doing so. The legislature cannot lawfully control you because you are flesh and blood being. God alone created you, and by right of creation, He alone can control you. It is the nature of law that what one creates, one controls. This nature, this natural law, is the force that binds a creature to its creator. The way the state get around God's law and thereby controls the people is by creating only an office and not a real human. This office is titled the person. This office is titled as person. And then the legislature claims that you are filling that office. Legislatures erroneously now think they can make laws that also control men. They create entire bodies of law, motor vehicle code, building code, compulsory education laws, and so on. They still cannot control men or women, but they can now control the office they created. And look who is sitting in the office. Look who is sitting in that office. Person. And look who is sitting in that office. Persons. And look who is sitting in that office. I continue. Then they create government departments to administer regulation to these offices. Within these administrative departments of state government are hundreds of other state-created offices, bureaus, commission, and those type of stuff, departments. There is everything from the office of janitor to the office of governor. But these administrative departments cannot function properly unless they have subjects to regulate. And I read that part again. These administrative departments cannot function properly unless they have subjects to regulate. Think about one of the administrative department, like the Department of Children and Family Protective Services. As an administrative department, they go around, they are limited by statute to what you call contested cases that involve licensing procedure, where one must be issued a license and is operating programs administered or regulated by the administrative agency, by the department, in order for their statute or in order for them to ever bring a claim against you to investigate your family affairs or anything for that matter. So to it is for even eviction as we are talking about it. It falls under the administrative department of the revenue department, according to what we have researched at Lawful Living here in different states. It says these administrative departments cannot function properly unless they have subjects to regulate. The legislature obtains these subjects by creating an office that nobody realizes to be an official state office. They have created the office of person. The state creates many other offices such as police officer, prosecutor, judge, etc. And everyone understands this concept. However, what most people fail to recognize and understand is that is the most common state office of all, the office of the person. Anyone filing one of these state offices, filling one of these state offices is subject to regulation by their creator. It's plain as day. If you are the person, you are subject to the rules that governs the office. If you are actually occupying that office, you are subject to the rules. The anyone filling one of these state offices is subject to the regulation of by their creator, which is the state legislature. Through The state created office of person. The state gains its authority to regulate, control, and judge you, the real human. What they have done is apply the natural law principle. What they have done is apply the natural law principle. What one creates, one controls. A look in Webster's dictionary revealed the origin of the word person. It literally means the mask an actor wears. The legislature creates the office of person, which is a mask. They cannot create real people. Only God can do that. But they can create the office of person, which is merely a mask, and then they persuade a flesh and blood being to put on that mask by offering a fictitious privilege, such as a driver's license, or we like to call it a business opportunity, a business license. Now, the legislature has gained complete control over both the mask and the actor behind the mask, right? A resident is another state office holder. All state residents hold an office in the state government, but not everyone who is a resident also hold the office of person. A resident is another state office holder. All state residents hold an office in the state government, but not everyone who is a resident holds office of person. Magnificent. Some residents hold office of judge and they are not persons. Some residents hold office of prosecutor and they are not persons. Some residents hold office of police officer and they are not persons. Some residents hold office of the legislature and they are not persons. I'm just following through. An attorney is a state officer of the court and is firmly a part of the judicial branch. The attorney will tell you they are licensed to practice law by the state supreme court. Therefore, it is unlawful for any attorney to hold any position or office outside the judicial branch. There can be no attorney legislatures. There can be no attorney legislatures, no attorney mayors, no attorneys as police, and no office, no attorney as governor. Yes, I know it happens all the time. However, this practice of multiple office holding by attorneys is prohibited by the Constitution and is a felony in most states. If you read further into your state constitution, you will find a clause stating this, the separation of powers, which will essentially read as follows. Branches of government. The powers of the state government shall be divided into legislative, executive, and the judicial branches. That's those three branches. No person belonging to one branch shall exercise any powers appertaining to either of the other branches unless expressly provided herein. Therefore, a police officer cannot arrest a prosecutor. A prosecutor cannot prosecute a sitting judge. A judge cannot order the legislature to perform, and so on. Because these offices are not persons, the state will not and cannot prosecute them. Now, this is interesting if you guys stick around when I'm sharing other videos, or maybe you'd have to join on my private reading, my reading corner. Okay? Now, because the offices are not persons, the state will not and cannot prosecute them. Therefore, they enjoy almost complete protection by the state in the performance of their duties. Note, only in the performance of their duties. This is why it is impossible to sue or file charges against most government employees. If their crimes should rise to a level where they shock the community and cause alarm in the people, then they will be terminated from their office or state employment and then they are arrested, now as a common person, and charges for their crimes. Simply put, the state will not eat its own. The reasons all state residents hold an office is so the state can control everything. It wants to create every single office. It wants to create every single office so that all areas of your life are under the complete control of the state, which I find to be so correct. Each office has prescribed duties and responsibilities, and all offices are regulated and governed by the state. If you read the fine print when you apply for a state driver's or a state license or privilege, you will see that you must sign a declaration that you are in fact a resident of the state. That's so true. Person is a subset of resident. Judge is a subset of resident, and legislators and police officers are a subset of resident. If you hold any office in the state, you are a resident and subject to all legislative decrees in the form of statute. So I do not hold any office in the state. They will say all men are free because that's a true statement. They will always say that we are free men, but they will never tell you that the legislator created offices that you are occupying are not free. When they do not say, what they do not say is that holding any state office binds free men into slavery for the state. What they do not say is that holding any state office, which is making an application accepting government public benefits, binds free man into slavery for the state. They are ever ready to trick you into accepting the state office of person. And once you are filling that office, you cease to be a free man. You cease to be a free man. You cease to be a free man. Okay? So let me share something with you now. OCGA 50-36-1. OCGA 5036-1. Just yeah. Okay. I'm coming up right here. No, remember I shared this chapter also in the last video, right? 56, 5036-1. It's called verification requirements. And we're looking at the definition of applicant. Because what I've found interesting is that on the face of the application form, it's telling you that the applicant is a natural person over the age of 18 or older who have made application for access to public benefits on behalf of an individual. So you made application for access to public benefits on behalf of some individual. So when you apply for even what you call the state driver's license or identification card, it is presumed that you have done so on behalf of an individual, on behalf of who? On behalf of this office. Remember the office? So you are, man, oh Lord, oh Lord. Have them provide the record. Have them provide the record. I'm just saying. But let me continue. Let me continue with this document. Okay. If you build your life in an office created by the legislature, it will be built on shifting sands. The office can be changed and manipulated at any time to conform to the whims of the legislature. When you hold the office of person created by the legislature, your office isn't fixed. Your duties and responsibilities are ever changing. Every legislative session binds a person to ever more burdens and requirements in the form of more rules and statutes. Most state constitutions have a section that declares the fundamental power of the people, the political power. It says, all political power is inherent in the people, and there's a distinct difference between the persons and the people, right? There's a distinct definition between the persons and the people. The enunciation herein of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or impair others retained by the people. Notice that this says people. It does not say persons. This statement declares beyond any doubt that people are sovereign. That is why you have the House of Sovereign Wisdom Ministries, right? People are sovereign over their created government. This is natural law, and the natural law flow of delegated power. I really want to close it out here, and I'll be trying my best to see if I can attach this PDF as a link for those who are interested to have more information to read and get better comprehension of this document. And it's not the first or the second time that I'm reading this document, but it's actually one that should be shared. And I'm not sure a lot of people may have come across this document. So it's really it's 11 pages only. But I want you guys to read it, or type in the comment box if you would like to join my reading room where we look at different provisions of the statute in order to create awareness and deal with these cases that are before the court, which is actually a misrepresentation by the attorneys for the most part, especially when they say the defendant is a resident, or the defendant is a person, the defendant is a tenant. We need to be sitting in a greater level of consciousness within ourselves to know that no weapon that formed against thee shall prosper, since we also recognize that words are swords, and sword is a type of weapon that cut. So we must carefully scrutinize these words that are coming to us. It's very deep and can be looked at very deep, 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 and even deeper. What it is that we are recognizing through proper research, logic, and reasoning, that according to the Constitution, they can only make rules for the government, the land, and naval forces. They cannot make laws or adopt rules for private people. It's only for those who are in the performance of function of public office. So I implore you to share your feedback, and I am trying my best to have this document uploaded so that you guys can actually obtain a copy. Or maybe if you do a search, you would find on the internet, it's called the Office of the Person. Okay? And I will see you guys soon, as I might do another video sometime shortly. Peace out, y'all. Have a good one.